If everyone could please take their seats. Welcome everyone to our February 1st General Assembly. I will be your speaker today. Your elected speaker has no voice, so she cannot speak. I do, however, have a voice, so I will be speaking. If we could take attendance, Secretary Mueller.
I'd love to. It's my job. Representative Bagat.
Present and voting.
Representative Brown.
Present and voting.
Representative Subak. Proxy?
Proxy.
Representative Williams.
Here. Voting.
Representative Villano. Representative In. Representative Tabachnik. Representative Owaputi. Representative Smith.
Present voting.
Representative Lee, as in Stephen Lee. Representative Falkenberg. Representative Law. Representative Hoffman.
Present voting.
Representative Lupton.
Present voting.
Representative Cummins. Representative Thompson.
Present voting.
Representative Chu. As in Albert. Hi, Albert.
Present voting.
Representative Schillo.
Proxy.
Representative Beckett. Representative Fernandez. Representative Dooner.
Present voting.
Representative Hale.
Present voting.
Representative Trong.
Present voting.
Representative Iannitti.
Present voting.
Representative Lundell. Representative Park. Representative Lee, as in Yuan. Representative McKee. Representative Schloff. Representative Gallo.
Present and voting.
Representative Sabe.
Present and voting.
Representative DeBaz.
President voting.
Representative Fitch.
President voting.
Representative Singh.
Proxy.
Representative Cruz.
President voting.
Representative Grialis. Representative Leoli.
Present voting.
Any at-larges wish to say hey? Okay. Speaker Wynn. Happy birthday, Treasurer Shaw.
Treasurer
Moser.
Moser.
Treasurer Shaw's birthday is soon, too. Parliamentarian Brubaker.
Presently brewing.
Vice President Maloney.
President voting.
Vice President Dorabek.
President voting.
Vice President Hamilton.
Present voting.
Vice President Downey.
Present voting.
Vice President Agarwal.
President voting.
President/Speaker Wynn.
Present and voting. Okay, if we could all please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving into committee reports, executive. So not too much to talk about here for executive. Everything is up there. The only thing I want to just kind of mention in passing for you guys is the SEC update. The Student Executive Council has been working vigorously through the winter break to kind of create a new posting policy that will be effective next fall. This new posting policy will be advertised to the student population this semester so that students have an adequate time to kind of prepare for the new stipulations or whatnot. There wasn't anything too, I guess, amazing or controversial that was added to the policy, but it did include a new section for the spirit wall in which there wasn't one before. So that, just keep your eyes out open for that. The SEC will be working in order to advertise that to you. So I am open to points.
What is it? Check.
So the new posting policy will have an image icon that is kind of basically a square and a check mark, a green check mark. These will be posted in areas that are appropriate for posting. So anywhere that you don't see that signal or that sign, that's not a posting area. Any other questions? Okay, moving on. VP of Student Life.
Hi everyone. So I think just the most exciting thing I have to mention is that the Little Italy Stop pilot should be happening right now. I don't know if anyone has seen it yet. It was supposed to be effective yesterday. It's supposed to be called Little Italy via East 119th. If you see it, maybe hop on there. Tell me how it is. Ask your friends how it is if they ride it. This will help us determine whether to make it permanent or not. So that's that. Pool hours resolution should be coming up later today, and I'm hoping to get this smoking on a Delbert discussion going in GA this evening as well. Open to points. Go ahead.
Are there any concrete metrics that you're looking at for the Little Italy Stop, or is it pretty much just like...
Metrics. Say that again?
Is there anything like concrete that you're looking at for the Little Italy Stop? Like, does it add too much time, or like...
Right, okay, so the way we designed it was that it doesn't touch the south loop at all. It makes use of only one of the north loop stops, and we've done it in a way that it doesn't change the existing route too much. So it would probably add maybe only about 1 or 2 minutes more. And then it stops right, it takes East 119th and stops right after the bridge. We try to avoid having students walk under that really kind of sketchy looking bridge because that's dangerous. So it stops right after the bridge, drops students off, and then it goes back on Euclid and takes the normal route.
Okay, so then, is there like, is the other Greenie driver gonna like stop for an extra minute at Pribley or whatever, so they don't like catch up through the night?
I'm sure they'll be able to work that out. They'll be in communication via walkie-talkie. Also, and if students find this is kind of more of a problem than it is a convenience, this is why we encourage feedback. This is just a pilot, it's not permanent. So we want that feedback. We want students to tell us if it's worth it or not worth it, so we can not discontinue it if need be.
Any other questions for the speaker? All right, thank you. Moving on, VP of Finance.
So it's in my board report, but I do want to bring your attention to the Collegiate Link meeting that was held this past Wednesday. I think it went very well. We had a lot of input from different groups about moving the whole financial process online to Collegiate Link 100% for next semester. But I do want to ask that if any of GA, any representatives or your friends or anything has any input, whether you think it's important or not, tell me, email me, just get it to me in some way, shape, or form, because we're forming policy right now this semester. So it's important that we hear your voice. Other than that, we're also, Finance Committee is also looking at getting a map of locations of fax lines that work with Case Cash. And we're still investigating the price change, price increase in the Rough Rider Room and the Spot. Open to points.
I just wanted to say thank you for doing a wonderful job with the Collegiate Link. For those of you who were able to go, it was well done. And they were, I think, incredibly impressed with the process that you have developed through the years. It was just a really great day, and I really want to thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions for the speaker? All right, thank you. We are going to break from the agenda for a second, and I'm going to have the advisors report.
Sorry about that. It is really awful out, so I'm going to head home. And I'll miss you. But I do have one thing I do want to talk to you about real quickly. First of all, before I go, the wonderful housekeepers who work in this building, they were excused. And they wanted me to beg you to please make sure the room looked good before you left. Because that's one thing they do is when you're done, they come back in and they kind of pick it up so it's beautiful in the morning. So I said that I would pass that message along. Now, what I need to talk to you about very, very briefly is the week of February 7th and 14th, you will be doing something very, very important. many of you are currently participating in ELP? Wow, how cool. Okay. And how many of you are graduates of ELP? Okay, cool. USG is participating in the final project this year, and I'm really excited about this. This is a program that I'm specifically fond of because I created it 5-6 years ago. And this is a whole new dimension of the curriculum that I'm really proud of. Melanie Scanlon is to be credited for this. It's such, and Emily, I believe you are the originator of this idea, right? What you're going to do is the week of the 7th or the 14th, you will have visitors from the ELP class to your standing committees. And I'm going to need a lot of patience on your part to see how this goes, but I think it's going to be a really good experience. What you're going to be doing, if you look at the instructions, is you're going to kind of consult with them. They have selected 6 different issues on campus that they want to put some time and energy into seeing come to some resolution. Now, some of those issues are going to be really familiar to you. And some of the issues that you're going to deal with on the standing committee are not going to necessarily be what your committee usually deals with. You know, like IT, for example, is going to be dealing with Safe Ride. So you can come from, and you can read through this on your own. I don't want to spend point by point, but please do read it. It's a brief, which helps you to understand what's going to happen. Your vice president's going to spend a little more time, either this week or early next, just to give you a briefing. Oh, actually, you can't do it next week. Well, hopefully this week, where you can talk about what your expectations are. You just have to turn into Joe and Jane USGer. That's what I want. I don't need you to necessarily come from a committee framework, but if it happens that way, that's cool too. So you're going to consult, you're going to give them advice. I've given you some suggested questions. They're going to present to you and give you what they think are some of the questions that they've developed, and Melanie's helping them, and their facilitators are helping them with that. So it's kind of a dialogue. Then on March 30th, at their graduation, prior to their actual commencement, they will do a poster session, and hopefully you'll all go, so you can see how some of this lays out. And it's a reception, and it'll be very nice. It'll teach some of the presentation competencies that we talk about in our outcomes in terms of their comfort level, their ability to be impromptu on their feet, and to talk about something that they feel pretty passionate about. So it's a really cool and new initiative in that it's very peer-to-peer based, and your voice is very important, so you're going to consult with them. That's a really quick overview. Just immediately, do you have any questions that come to mind in terms of, you know, what's going to happen? You do have this briefing, which will help, you know, hopefully answer some questions. Tell you what, just email me or ask your vice president, because they've been briefed twice on this, and then this Thursday I'm going to give them a really fleshed out briefing. So it's brand new. We're really excited. Emily, I can't thank you enough. It was such a cool idea, so we're really excited to try it. So, any immediate questions? Okay, great. And if any of you are driving back to your residence halls, please be careful. It just, I know you just came in, but it's only going to get worse. So maybe we'll have a snow day. Wouldn't that be cool? All right, guys, thanks.
We will all pray tonight.
Wear your jammies inside out. That's what my kids do.
Okay, VP of Academic Affairs, Jared Hamilton.
So we got our hands on some faculty senate FISCU subcommittee minutes, so we can summarize some things that are rattling around within FISCU. Mine comes from the academic standing subcommittee, which deals with, in this case, a scholarship proposal. There's a potential change to how scholarships are rewarded to the future incoming classes, where if you lose or if you go into bad or not good academic standing, so I guess bad academic standing, which is below a 3.0, as I believe it, for your scholarship, you don't immediately lose it. You would be able to get it back if you bring your GPA above 3.0. Now, a reminder, this is just a proposal, and this isn't going to affect anyone in this room or anyone that is currently enrolled at Case. And then I guess the bad side of that would be that the appeals process, which is, from my understanding, more lenient now, would become more strict. So it would be, if you lose your scholarship and you're in not good academic standing, it would be very hard to get it back unless you improve and get into good academic standing. Any questions? Yes.
These are all QM GPAs?
I'm not quite sure. I'm going,
The academic standing thing is per semester, so
Oh, okay.
under 2 is the new rules, so, yeah.
under 3 for, I think, these scholarships.
Well,
Specific,
the new rules are gonna be just academic. The old rule was for 3, and then you could potentially get your scholarship back, but bad standing is defined as under 2, and that's what they're gonna move to. Which the new rules are also going to involve fewer categories. You know, right now there's like deans and provosts and this and that scholarship level, but now they're gonna pare those down to
we're going to
fewer.
simplify it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did that answer your question? Emily?
Well, just right now it's based on Q, and so I'm wondering how you're talking about it, how it's going to switch to semester.
I guess, I'm trying to think of how it's
Well, I
described
mean,
to
it's
me.
becoming lower, so.
So
Yeah.
the idea is it's per semester, but they're dropping it from a 3 to a 2.
Right.
Okay, and so in my meeting today also, the 2 main things that we went over were the international efforts with 2+2, which I asked David Fleschler about 2 weeks ago, or was it 2 weeks ago, last semester, whatever, which are basically our relationships with several Taiwanese and one Chinese university. And what they do is, 2 semesters at their home university, and they come to Case, 2 more years, and they get a degree. And so there's been a lot of problems with them. Got a little more information about them. There's 18 current undergraduates, or total, that have enrolled. Most of them are in the engineering tracks. One of the professors actually on the committee had an accounting student right now that is having a lot of trouble. And the general gist was that it's unfair to them to expect, with our current admission requirements, that they come here to Case, rigorous academics, and expect them to graduate with all of the correct requirements. And a lot of them also have a lot of problems understanding English. And so, and also, they end up having to waive a lot of academic requirements in order for them to graduate in 2 years. So SAGEs, all
Capstones.
breadth requirements generally have to be waived. What they come in, basically assuming all they have to take are major requirements. So it's definitely a miscommunication. The original arrangement was only with one university, and then all these other Taiwanese universities, started contacting us. Oh, we want this too, because it became sort of like the one guy talked. This is a big deal in Taiwan apparently. Like when these first got rolled out, there was TV coverage and radio and print and everything, and so it's a big feather in their caps. And the subcommittee actually recommended that they be terminated and no students be admitted for this fall 2013 semester and beyond. But my committee that we're on hasn't decided anything yet, and we decided we needed a little more information before we decide such a thing. So that's that. Does anyone have questions about that before I go on?
VP Downey?
Well, I was just going to say that I know this came up for one other, actually it was school in the U.S., I don't remember which one, maybe you do, Steve, but the main concern there was that it was diluting the power of the Case degree.
Right.
Is that one of the main arguments, or? is
Yeah,
that,
because
okay.
they don't have to necessarily, because we have to waive those requirements like SAGES and breadth, and, they get the same degree that, one of us gets. And so if that's, diluting the power of a Case Western degree, that's the main reason why we're revising them and stuff. But on the other side of the coin, we did make these agreements. They could have been made better. Most of them, I think all of them, don't have any sort of revision sort of tack, like they don't have any sort of sunset clause, like they're indefinite. So one of the universities would have to break it in order to make a new agreement. And so I think in order to just terminate it flat out would, definitely discourage this type of international effort that David Fleshler is trying to do, and prevent even probably future relationships with these universities. Any other questions? Briefly,
Colin has one.
Okay, I'm sorry. So for the students who participate in this program, they get 2 separate degrees, one from the original university and then one from Case Western, or are they just getting the one from Case Western?
2 separate degrees.
yeah.
Any other questions?
Okay, another thing I had to touch on, we only got to talk, okay, sorry.
You said that the agreement didn't have a specific timeline. Do we know the specific language of why?
Well, from my understanding, these are agreements with faculty members that are very involved in the East, and basically, I mean, is your question like why we made them, or?
I guess the purpose of my question is if we have specific language of a partnership being created to, say, increase the credibility of an engineering, company there, or a specific group of students. And if they're graduating and they're saying that they're suffering because they have to stay here longer, or they don't understand English, then if we can look back at that clause or that language and see that it's not being upheld, then we can go and make a decision that it should be terminated. But if we're saying that we don't know the purpose, or we're not familiar with why it was created in the first place, then how can we make a decision as if it should stand or not?
It's basically just internationalization. I mean, initially this was designed to entice more higher quality foreign students to Case. They get a 10% reduction in tuition, as opposed to, most international students have to pay full tuition, like no questions. And they also get scholarships from their home institution to go to Case. So the idea was that we would get very high caliber international students, and we would still, on a admissions and monetary standpoint, we'd still get more money per student than we would otherwise.
So is that occurring? I mean, I'm not asking if we looked at their transcripts, but I mean,
The high caliber thing?
Yeah, evaluation.
Well, they are very smart students. I think usually the problem is just the English thing. And that is actually an issue across all of our international students, which is being, the standards are being increased, like our TOEFL score. We're gonna start requiring SATs. So these problems aren't just relegated to these agreements, I guess, with our international students.
Okay, further questions about this topic can be directed to them afterwards. If we could move on with the next report.
Okay, another thing, we only talked about it for 2 seconds, new guidelines for the participation of undergraduates as teaching assistants. They're pretty basic, and no one really had any, disagreements with them. And I'll pass this around if you'd like, but it's basically just fleshing out what the responsibilities of the faculty member are, what the teaching assistant, their training process, but they are very basic, and so I think the idea is that we just had it on the books, and pretty much every single institution of our caliber has some sort of guidelines. Carnegie Mellon, I think one of the faculty members on the committee said, has an 8-page document consisting about undergraduate TAs. So that's that. Any questions about that?
All right, seeing none, going to move into public relations. Thank you. Yes, be granted.
Hi guys, so this is my first committee report. Our meeting today was at 6, so if you'd like to come next week, I encourage you to come. And this meeting basically was to create an outline of what we can expect from this semester, and our primary, I guess, obligation right now is to provide closure on Pizza Olympics, and publicizing the vendors on campus and creating a directory for them. And I guess I'm going to allot, if there are no further points, I'm going to allot the rest of my time to
VP
represent
Downey?
across- Yes.
I actually do have one question. Are you going to be making magnets again, or how are you going to be PRing the vendors?
Well, Keith can alliterate if I make a mistake, but we're going to have paper directories, and we're going to print 1,000 directories, and we're getting 1,000 like documents from the top 3 pizza vendors, and we're going to be stapling those together and handing those out to different schools within the university, like the law school, and trying to get a great outreach. But those papers will include coupons and information on the top 3 vendors, as well as one main directory for the entire campus. So, any other points?
Representative Hale?
Do we have a compulsory agreement with those vendors that we have to do this, or is this just by our own initiative?
Well, they gave us several hundred free boxes of pizza, so this is a thank you to them for that generous donation.
Yeah, we could always choose not to. In years past, I told them that I was going to publicize more than I did, and and they still did it anyway. But this, yeah, I know. So, yeah, turn off the camera. No. But this form of publicity, I know will get, actually, there's a couple vendors that are more high class that actually haven't been participating in the Pizza Olympics, and I know this form of publicity will actually sell them into actually coming. So this form of publicity will probably be carried over from year to year and will be the main form of publicity, and I know that is hugely to encourage more pizza and larger turnouts for years.
So we're going to bring Representative Spotlights back, so that is why Laura Cruz is up here.
All right, so I know it's been a while, but we have some lovely prizes here, as I'm sure you can see. All right, so we've got 2 people here, and we're going to do the whole raise your hand if you think you know who it is, and I'll try and determine who had their hand up first. All right, so our first person is from Broadville, Pennsylvania. She is a cog sci in evolutionary biology. Skylar Thompson.
Vice President Moore.
Absolutely right. Snickers or Sour Punch?
Sour Patch.
Sour Patch.
Read the fun ones anyway.
I'm gonna chuck it.
Oh.
Badly. Very badly.
Don't do
2 more? Okay. All right.
Please have
How
order.
about Kelly? Okay. Let's see. Her pet peeve is when the toilet paper rolls over instead of under. It must have been backwards in the document. All right. And her doppelganger is Meg Ryan before the crazy plastic surgery. I can see it. All right. So our second person is a chemistry major. Her guilty pleasure is sleeping in. Her least favorite letter is Q. Keith was first.
Peggy Moser?
Wrong.
Jason Shaw?
Wrong. One guess. Representative Begat. Nope. All right. The weirdest thing she has ever touched is a rhino. All right. She is from Granville, Ohio. Is it Keith? All right, Keith.
Lana Dorbeck?
Nope. Representative DeBaz.
Oh, you're...
Yep. Yep. All right. We'll be back next week with more.
Information technology.
Hi, everyone. As you can see from the board report, we are trying to see if there's any way that we can get full versions of Office on public machines managed by Student Affairs IT. So that would be computers in Wade, Fribley, Village, Great Rooms, and the possibly Twing. That might be a little bit more difficult with regards to licensing issues, but the reason that they don't have current versions of Office right now, and I might have addressed this before in GA, but I can't remember, so I'll address it again, is they don't want people spending time sitting at those computers and taking them up for long periods of time, and they want more people to, as many people to be able to use them as possible so they can be as convenient as possible. But it's kind of a problem because the viewers, the Office viewers that are currently on those machines can't always read the DocX and XLSX and PPTX formats from Office 2007 and above, which can create problems for people trying to print like Word documents that contain equations and things like that. So we're looking into see if there's any way that we can get full versions of Office on those computers, maybe reach a compromise with Student Affairs IT so that people won't be loitering on the machines, but also they can still print their documents. So that's something we're working on. Been researching print-to-hear reliability issues as well. Apparently, sometimes in Fribley, specifically what the problem is that when a paper jam or a problem occurs with the printer, all that's done is that an out-of-order sign is placed on it, and Student Affairs IT isn't actually notified. So... if you see the printer, Print-to-Fribley, or any other printer has been down for a while, I would encourage you to first go check with the area office if it's an area with an area office, just to, make sure they know that they should be contacting Student Affairs IT, and also email print2here@case.edu and report the problem yourself. Hang on. Okay. No, it's okay. No.
Well, I was just going to say. Because they do have the status on their website, on Student Affairs, is there any way that can send a notification to them? Or is that going to require a bit of work?
That would probably require a bit of work. I can look into that and see if that can be implemented, but I don't believe there's currently a system for that. I'm also going to be putting a link to the Print to Hear status page on the USG website, so you can look at the printers and determine the status from there. Yes?
Just as a point of clarification, they did say that there's a program that runs on the area offices like computers and lets them know if it's down, so they do know that it's down when it's down.
That's right. Okay. Thank you. And Skylar.
A workaround for the DocX thing, if it doesn't save as doc correctly, if you export it to PDF, which you should be able to because you have a free version of Adobe from the Software Center, that should print out correctly.
Yeah, so try saving in the compatibility format without, the old 2003 envelope format first. If that messes up your equations or whatever, you can convert it into a PDF. So that's a way to work around the problem. Thank you, Skylar. And another thing that wanted to address was we are still planning on having the IT focus group type meetings in freshman residence halls in collaboration with ITS CSS. We just need to contact RHA to set up those meetings because we need to go through RHA to set up meetings in the freshman residence halls for some reason. So we will be going through the appropriate channels so we can hopefully have those meetings sometime soon for the freshmen. Okay, that's about it. Open to points.
Any questions for the VP? Seeing none, thank you. Moving into ad hoc committee and caucus reports, do we have any tonight? Yes, Representative Bagat.
The Art and Science Committee will be meeting tonight after GA. That is all.
Okay. Representative Gallo?
All right, so last week I told you guys about the outreach events that we were planning on doing, and we've narrowed it down to a few this week, yesterday actually. If you want more information, you can ask for points. I'm just going to say the names. So we're thinking about a pool tournament between the freshmen houses, water balloon fight later on in the semester because it's a little too cold right now. Yeah. A campus-wide manhunt of sorts. Also a campus-wide Where's Waldo. A mixer between, we would aim it towards freshmen, but all undergraduates would be invited, and we would invite graduate students to talk to the underclassmen about the process, what is expected of them, stuff like that. And also, two more things, a garage sale kind of thing where all the campus would be invited to this, and it would be towards the end of the semester. Kind of confusing, so I'll explain that. It's so the whole undergraduate population would be invited to this because outgoing seniors don't need things anymore. Underclassmen do need things that the upperclassmen do. So we're thinking about having this at the end of the semester when they don't need it anymore, something like that. And also a masquerade or costume party for the freshmen would be exciting. Matt is actually leading that, so that's a fun time. Any questions about those? You want to know any more information?
Representative Bagat.
If I find a guy with a karaoke machine like within the next 2 weeks, is that still on the table then?
Yeah.
Okay.
VP Dorbeck?
If for any of the events that are more outreach to the entire student body, feel free to bring that to PR.
That was because each of those things have like 3 or 4 bullet points in case people wanted to know. Actually, for the graduate underclassmen mixer, we were thinking about asking USG to help with that because it involved everyone. So, little point.
All right. Any other points for the speaker? All right. Thank you.
Well,
you're
a few more
go,
things.
Continue.
Those are just the outreach ideas. I'd also like to bring to points the accomplishments that we have done the past week or two. One thing, which I told my floor about last night, and they were pretty ecstatic. Thank you, Taryn, by the way. We're going to start getting Nutella in Leitner.
Ooh.
So that's delicious. Yeah. Well, no freshmen live at Frivoli. Also, we're getting PB&Js and Grab It because vegetarian lack of stuff like that. So PB&Js and Grab It, and also an Italian blend is getting added to the Spice Bar in Leitner. All food related because freshmen love food. And just some stuff we're going to start doing is we're going to have our meeting with Mr. O'Brien sometime soon. And two of the main things we have right now, if you guys have any more, let me know. The L3 weekend hours, because L3 is not open on Friday or Saturday. So we're trying to figure out how to fix that or a little more understanding on the issue. And also guest swipes for people when they come into town. Right now, depending on the person swiping, you can't use the swipes. If you're on a 17 meal plan, you can't use those swipes to get a guest in. And the way guest swipes are, you only have 2 guest swipes during the week. So if a friend comes in on the weekend, or not week, semester, sorry.
Correction, it's 5.
Is it 5?
No, it's
Okay.
still 5.
Okay. I mean, I wasn't a student last year. Yeah, we were gonna suggest if we do have like swipes at the end of the week, maybe since there's only a limited amount of guest swipes, try maybe have an option to use the guest swipes because we already paid for them, or not the guest swipes, the weekly swipes because we already paid for them. So try to use those before the guest swipes because I know that was changed last year. So we're just gonna try to tinker it a little bit.
Okay. Any questions for the speaker? All right. Thank you. Any other caucus or ad hoc committee reports? Yes, Representative Unity.
The Weatherhead Caucus met last week, and we brought Representative Trong up to speed with what we're doing. Right now, we're working on meeting with administrators, and we have another chocolate comments planned for this month. We're going to do hot chocolate and open to points.
Representative Bagat.
What snacks are there besides hot chocolate at your event?
Well, last time we did brownies and cookies, but I think we're going to keep it simple for this one. And then we were thinking of doing fudge sickles for the next one once it gets warmer.
Where'd you guys get the brownies and cookies from?
Walmart.
Okay. Just curious.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Any more caucus or ad hoc committee reports? All right, seeing none. Moving into old business. We have nominations for the first-year representative for the House of Cutler. Any nominations? I would suggest then someone close the nominations. Yes, VP Downey. Any dissension against? Yes. Okay. Yeah, well, we're not closing, so go ahead.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
No, that's it.
That's it?
As long as we're not closing.
Do we have any nominations for the first-year representative, Cutler House representative position? We will table that then. Moving on to nominations for College of Arts and Science representative. There are 2 positions available.
There's 2, because of Elena.
Yes.
Rachel Rubenstein.
Can you spell the last name? I've already got that one.
Representative Brown?
Lauren Huffman.
Any other nominations? Okay. Nominations for the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing representative. Do we have one? I think, no, those are full. Those are closed.
You can still entertain
They can be closed if somebody.
That's why I had it on there.
Okay. Yes, Representative Lupton.
Well, I was going to close. I don't know if somebody else. Yeah. I close the nominations for the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing representative.
All right. We will now vote to close the nominations for the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing representative. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Simple majority. Okay. Moving on to new business. We will now be electing the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing representative. We have one candidate, Nicole Eric. Nicole, if you could please come up to the podium. If we could get a time. All right. So Nicole, you are allotted 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You are allowed to use this time however you would like, containing questions and answers as well as your speech.
Hi everyone, my name's Nicole. I'm not going to take 2 minutes, I really.
Just go, just start it.
Okay, hi, I'm Nicole Irick. I'm a senior nursing student. I was the School of Nursing representative last year, as well as speaker of the caucus. The nursing caucus really accomplished a lot last year. we did a lot of different things. We really strengthened our bonds with the administration, and all of those things I would like to continue with this semester. And also the Nursing Caucus last year was a very tight-knit group, so I hope to bring that to this semester's Nursing Caucus as well. So I'm open to questions.
Representative Bagat.
Can you speak to your schedule and other time commitments that may hinder your ability to appear at GAs?
Yes, I'm doing my preceptorship. All senior nursing students have to do a 336-hour preceptorship, so my clinical schedules do rotate when I do have clinicals, but I will try very hard to find a proxy. I have 2 people that said they would be willing to possibly come to meetings, depending on when they are. I'm also the Spartan Ambassador Coordinator at Undergraduate Admissions, and that's mostly on the weekends. And I'm on the Ohio Nursing Students Association, and that's mostly weekend meetings as well.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, if you would please step out. If we could cut the media. In that instance, just put a vote of no confidence. Just put no confidence. Okay, moving on to other new business. If someone would like to introduce a resolution. Yes, Representative Williams.
I move to introduce resolution R 20-06.
Is there a speaker in the pro?
Point of order.
Yes.
Move to change resolution numbers, resolution 20-06 to 07 and resolution 20-07 to 08. What's that? Doug just told me to do that.
Okay, well, that could be an amendment. All right. Opening up resolution 20-07. Is there a speaker in the pro? Is there a speaker in the pro?
Right here.
Okay.
So, as many of you may know, international students do not receive any financial aid from this university. My goal, if this resolution passes, is to have some form of financial aid packages allotted to the international students at this university. I'm open to points.
Any points for the speaker? Representative Williams.
I'm just curious, is there a specific reason why international students are not receiving financial aid at this point?
Basically, for whatever reason that both need-based aid and merit-based aid were structured in the past, it's just not included international students. I know some specific aid provided by the federal government is not allowed to be given to like non-American citizens.
VP Dorbeck.
Would the potential increase of aid to international students have any effect on the aid that our domestic students receive? And if so, can you elaborate on that?
Okay, that's a very good question, and I'm sure many of you would be concerned about that. I don't think it would change that level at all. From my understanding of what's already occurring is that there would be a few merit-based scholarships that are not awarded upon being admitted here, but awarded to people that applied to them that would now be open to international students to apply for those. So it's a rather small number, but it's not like taking, food from one person's mouth and giving it to another. Pretty much, like, if you get it when you're admitted here, you're gonna keep it. So.
Representative Thompson.
I guess my question is, who is considered an international student? So say, for example, you went to high school here, but you're not a citizen. Say you're on a green card. Are you considered an international student?
I think I'm not sure about that. I know if you're an American citizen and you went to school outside of the United States, at least in the past couple of years, you had to go through the international student application. But I'm not sure about the other way. From public schools, you're considered an American, student?
At Ohio State, no, you're considered an international student.
International student? Okay.
Okay. Representative Brown?
Can you clarify the second whereas clause?
International students have limited access to financial resources. Let's see, where was Sion going with this? Once we get into open discussion.
Do we have any other points for the speaker? Yes.
Yes, do you know how other colleges compare with CASE with giving aid to international students?
Some are better, some are worse. I know Cornell gives a slight amount of aid to international students, and that's actually convinced some international students here to transfer over to Cornell, just because they're going to give them a few $1,000s. So it does, by creating financial aid packages for international students, it makes us more competitively international. It's not going to be insignificant.
Do we have any other clarifying questions on this resolution? All right, seeing none, thank you. Is there a speaker in the con? All right, we will move into discussion then. Opening up discussion about the resolution 20-07. Yes, Representative Cummins.
I don't know if anyone else heard what I said to Emily, but the second whereas clause, Matt Fernandez actually told me about this. Is he here?
No.
When you get into CASE and you come in to study, you're given a certain type of what did I just say?
Visa.
It's a student visa, and you're actually not allowed to work unless you have the different kind of visa to work. And so any other student is able to, subsidize their own education by, working on campus, but international students are not. So.
VP Downey.
I was just going to say, as a point for this, I think that'd also help increase our diversity among international students, because right now we're only getting ones that can afford to pay, $50,000 or whatever it is with housing and everything. So I think this will help kind of broaden the people that we bring in.
Representative Hoffman? Did you have your hands up? Move it. Representative Williams?
All right, another point. Is there a difference in the amount of tuition for an international student versus a domestic student?
I don't believe so, unless they're receiving some sort of financial aid from their home country.
Representative Thompson.
Move to amend second whereas clause to add while they are in the U.S. Because it's not universally true that they have limited access to financial resources. That's like I don't know. It's maybe programmer coming out of me, I guess.
Can we say, can we amend that amendment to say some international students, or?
Yeah.
I mean, something along those lines.
Friendly, I guess.
So if you could please reread the amendment. Could you please reread the amendment?
I guess it would be, whereas some international students have limited access to financial resources while they are in the United States.
Is that friendly?
Friendly.
Okay. Yes, Representative Cruz?
How does this work as far as international students? Do they have any way to receive financial aid from within their own country and apply it to case?
I'm not really sure if we would know about that, to be honest. I know there are issues with developing ways to provide need-based aid for international students because we can't exactly pull up financial forms from foreign countries. I think it'd probably be some form of declaration on your admissions or like financial information.
Representative Brown?
To amend the first resolved clause to that the Office of the University of Financial Aid create financial aid packages to support international students.
Friendly.
Representative Schlapp?
I just have a question about if this is going to affect American like students and their financial aid. Like if it's going to decrease because you're adding more.
The only area so far is, and by the way, this is already happening, or will be happening in the future, is that merit-based scholarships that students have to apply for once they get here, if they didn't do so well in high school, but they want to get a better merit-based scholarship or a merit-based scholarship in the United States, which is a very small amount of scholarships that are available. Those would be open for international students to apply to.
Time for discussion has closed. At this point, I would, yes, VP. Okay. Good. Representative Bagat.
So for the merit scholarship we were just discussing, where you're saying that students applied to them but they didn't get merit scholarship when they came to school, when they first enrolled. So does this mean that international students can they apply for it right when they're applying to the university, or do they have to wait a year to apply for it, just like students who didn't get it right away?
The second one you said. So after they get to the university, it's not like they're getting it when they come here. It's after they've come to the university, established themselves. Then if they have a good enough grade point average, they can apply for this merit-based scholarship.
Representative Cummins.
Like Jared said, this is happening, so I think it was written purposely vague, and if you would like to, I don't know, talk to David Fleshler, I'm sure he would definitely be interested in your thoughts on the implementation, but this is basically just a feather in our cap because we were there in the international committees, and we want to give our stamp of approval. So,
Representative Beckett.
So if the point of this, like Colin said, is to attract a more diverse, I guess, students that we're bringing in, so it's not as much based on finances, wouldn't it make more sense to have this resolution be based towards the merit-based scholarships that are received before you apply? And then I do have a question for you too. That's, are they going to increase the number of merit-based scholarships now that you can apply for once you're already at CASE, since there's going to be a wider applicant pool?
They're always willing to take more money from alumni who are willing to pay for scholarships, but it's difficult to get alumni to put their name on a scholarship when they could on a building. I guess in regards to this being focused on increasing international student diversity, Sion and I had a difference of opinion on whether or not this should focus solely on merit-based aid or solely on need-based aid for international students, and that's why I chose just the vague term of financial aid to encompass both those groups. They are working on creating need-based aid for international students. The issue with that is when you give need-based aid to an international student, it is a full ride because the wealth disparity in a developing country, relatively small amount of very rich people and then a lot of poor people. So anyone that needs it is going to need the whole tuition to be covered. So that's why there's going to be a very small amount of need-based aid scholarships when they first create them in the next few years.
2 minutes time has passed. Representative Williams?
Motion to extend this discussion by 2 minutes.
Okay. I have Representative Williams up next.
I think what Representative Cummins said about this being purposely vague, I don't necessarily have a problem with for students, international students receiving financial aid, but I do have a problem with a resolution that is this vague and this just kind of general. And I think just to say that, well, this is already in place and this is just going to be our weight behind it. I think, I don't know, I just kind of feeling that's just legislation for just legislation's sake and that we're just doing this. I mean, I'd rather would see something more specific in here before this is passed.
VP Dorbeck?
I would also suggest, I don't know if this is possible, but scholarships that are specifically for international students. I know you were just talking about specific aid to, but I think some students might have an issue with that, with the wider applicant pool, unfortunately.
VP Agarwal?
My question was, now that if you add international students to this pool, you said that you're not taking food from one from another, you're just making the pool more competitive. Is the amount of aid for each merit-based scholarship going to decrease? Is each scholarship going to decrease now, or?
From those very small amount of scholarships, it would be the exact same amount, I believe, in terms of number of scholarships in dollars given.
The same number of dollars or the same number of scholarships?
Same number of scholarships, which would equate to the same number of dollars cumulatively. It just so happens that there are more people applying for them.
Representative Hoffman?
I also agree that I feel like I understand this was left vague for a reason, but I don't like the vague wording because I feel like there's too much left to interpretation, and I feel like it's just like, I don't know, that USG's words could be twisted, like, oh, USG passed this, they support what we're doing, but it might not be. I don't know. I don't really like this piece of legislation. I feel like it doesn't say enough.
Representative Cummins?
USG does not have any direct power. So when we write a piece of legislation, it is to either support a current initiative or to create an initiative. And the people who actually do things are administrators and faculty. And so we have student members that are on these committees that do the actual implementation. But in order to have a complete understanding for every single member in GA would be an inordinate amount of work for all of us. To become experts on the actual information relating to this issue would require, hours and hours of work for each one of you. And I think it's important that we have vice presidents that do have a little bit more expertise in this sort of thing, and they are in direct relationships with our administrators and faculty members that do make the decisions. And this was well thought out. This was in good taste. I think that we should pass it because this is already happening. And I mean, at the end of the year, when we look back and we have this piece of legislation, we can say that we did something. Okay, so I don't understand where all this, I guess, idealism is coming from. I don't know.
I'm closing this discussion after 3 more comments. Next, I have VP Downey, if you would like to refer to someone else. If not,
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it was one of the things that was kind of said before about the merit-based scholarships coming up. In kind of response to Representative Beckett's comment, I actually feel it'd be better for international students to wait a year, just like domestic students do, just because of the disparity in reporting mechanisms in their own countries. There's not really an even base for how you report grades how you did before. So even though it might say that they did amazing, comparatively to another country, it's not fair. It's not, because you're talking about the countries around the world. So it's not even just states at this point. It's very disparate. And I would feel much better if they waited that year, just to see how they did at Case.
next I have Representative Sabe.
With that, I feel like the admissions office has enough experience to weigh out. You would disagree with it? Okay, well, the other thing is that because, you said that we're not directly putting this into law, it's going to be them who puts this into effect. So I don't think it would be that big of a deal. I think a lot of the disparity is with people don't want international student aid to affect domestic student aid. So if we just said that the university Office of Financial Aid create financial aid packages such that it does not, USG does not want it to affect domestic aid. And then they can take that into consideration. Yes, I'm recommending. Yeah, that the Office of University Financial Aid create financial packages support international students such that this aid does not affect undergraduate student aid, or someone can reword it.
Reduce the aid available to domestic students. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, VP Downey, if you have a motion.
I move to table the bill back to committee because it seems like we're very divided on this, on the language.
We will now vote to table Bill 20-07. All those in favor? Okay. All those opposed? Those abstentions? All right. Okay. Bill is tabled. Moving on to new business. If anyone else would like to introduce. Yes, Representative.
Move to introduce Resolution R 20-08.
Do we have a speaker in the pro?
Okay, this is a pretty straightforward resolution. We're recommending that they increase the operating hours of the Veal pool. So far, the Veal administrators have been kind of non-responsive to us getting them to do this. So we feel like a resolution will get them to give this issue more attention. It's definitely something that we've heard complaints from both undergraduates and graduates. So I think this resolution will sort of give the issue more weight with the administration. Open to points.
Yes.
What are the current hours and then what are the proposed hours?
Well, the current hours are Monday through Friday. They open pretty early in the morning, and then they close at 6 in the evening, and there's a couple of gaps in there.
7:30 to 9, 11:30 to 2, and 4 to 6. Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 1 to 3.
So yeah, we wanted to keep the hours that we're proposing purposely vague for this resolution. We want to give the administration some sort of leeway, but I mean, I'd personally like to see more evening and weekend hours. Like I know people that are on co-ops, and the hours that they have right now just don't work for them.
Any other questions for the speaker? Yes, Representative Hoffman.
I'm not sure who pays for veal, pool, lifeguards, etc. But is that one of the people listed in the sent to the following people? Like, is that Glenn Nichols? Who budgets veal?
It would be Dave Dials, and Glenn Nichols would be the person who the money draws from. Any other questions for clarification? Seeing none, is there a speaker in the con? All right, we will now move into discussion about General Assembly Resolution R20-08. VP Downey.
So I know from talking with Dr. Dials and also Pat Kennedy at the speed dating event, I've got a lot of respect for student life for tackling this, because talking with them, even about something about, I think the topic was brightening up the workout area of like a coat of paint or something, they were just totally against it and offered some kind of, I don't even know, it wasn't even really a recommendation or anything from them. And so I would really like to have stronger language in this that kind of gives Glenn Nichols something more to go to them with and say, hey, do this. So I don't know, more hours, I guess. So waiting for
Representative Beckett.
I've also had issues working with Dr. Dials and getting results. So I think it might be helpful, since you're especially looking for weekend and evening hours, to amend one of the whereas clauses, such as the third one or fourth one, to read like, whereas the current pool hours are not meeting the needs of the campus, especially in the evening and on weekends, or something along that.
Any other points? Representative Hoffman.
Could it even be worth it to say something like increasing like 1 hour per day, or like increasing 7 hours per week, or putting some kind of measurable, saying like at least increasing the hours to 7 hours per week more? I don't know.
Yes, Representative Nee.
Once again, I think it's a little dangerous to box us into like a specific metric. I'm going to take this resolution to Dave Dials and Steve Thompson, and I want to, have enough leeway to be able to negotiate some increase in the hours without them feeling like obligated to satisfy something that's in a resolution.
I think perhaps giving them a tangible number, like increasing by at least 5 hours or 7 hours per week might be helpful. They might say something like, okay, we can do that. That's something that we can give them.
Representative Thompson.
I would recommend at least saying 14 or 21 hours a week, simply because it's easier to go down in negotiation. It's like start high. So.
24/7. Representative Bagat.
Is it possible just to add an appendix of different variations in the time slots, and show like maybe add 5 hours on the weekends, or and show like the time frames you were thinking about then, or different time variations, and include that with the resolution so they can see where we're going with it?
VP Agarwal.
That may be possible. However, we also need to see what other things could be conflicting with the schedule. We wanted to, again, use this to finally get to them, to sit down with them and talk with them about extending the hours. All these requests for a certain number of hours, those can be definitely brought up to them, and they will. However, we don't want to create a demanding resolution up front and have them shut us down again because we were coming across too harsh. We're trying to just respectfully open a discussion with formal legislation, and then we'll go with them in front of them and tell them, what you have right now is not enough. We'd like more evening hours, more weekend hours, and overall, approximately, I think Representative Thompson said 21 to 14 extra hours per week. Those can all be addressed. We just didn't want to put it in the resolution now.
Discussion time has ended. If anyone would like to, yes.
I move to extend discussion by 2 minutes.
All right, granted. I have Representative Williams.
I feel like I know the argument for not putting an exact amount of time on the resolution, but I also feel like you could very easily accomplish what this resolution is doing with a simple student petition. So I think to gain more information and to put an actual concrete number of hours on here will actually put the full weight of USG behind it. And I agree you don't want to come off as too demanding, but by the same token, it's very easy to be like, oh, well, we'll increase it by 1 minute every day. Well, that's an increase. So, and that's not going to help.
BP Downey?
Representative Hoffman, how many hours of pool a week, all 7 days, does the pool currently stay open? For open? I mean, just so we can have like an idea of where we're at, like what we're asking.
While she's figuring that out, VP Agarwal.
So this has been on the table since last semester. Not on the table, but this has been in student life in our committee for a long time. I've talked to members of the GPC, the GSS about this. There are a lot of students that back this, that would like the pool hours extended. Undergraduates and graduate students alike, and graduate students make up a huge population. From experience doing the sports equipment resolution, it's fun to do petitions, but I honestly don't think this needs a petition. It's something that's in a huge dispute. I just want the communication with them, to go up to them and tell them, and have a conversation with them about this, to extend the hours. VP Nichols himself has told me that if this resolution doesn't accomplish what it needs to, then he'll have to go talk to him himself, but he would like USG to take initiative first.
Do we have a time?
34 hours.
Okay. We have Mr. Hobson.
Can someone provide just a rough estimate of the number of complaints that have been received last semester or the semester before?
I mean, I don't have an exact number, but this is definitely the number 3 issue that I hear about behind Bon Appetit and Print to Hear. I hear about this all the time.
Okay, I have Representative Thompson.
Call the previous question. Second.
All right. We will now vote, or we will now move into a vote if there is no dissension. Okay. We will now vote on Resolution R20-08. Those in favor of passing this resolution, please raise your hand. Okay. All those opposed? All those abstaining? Okay. Pass. All right. General Assembly Resolution R20-08 passes. All right, moving on. We will now open forum. If we could have the USG feedback report real quick.
I'd love to. So, not as much as last week, but so I'll actually read all of them. But actually, that one's resolved. But it was about clickers, and that was already done. Just getting our legislation out there, and also there's an issue about kind of follow-up and showing what has actually been done with our resolutions, kind of as a PR initiative. Please make the Greenie Stop in Little Italy permanent. Can we please get free passes to the Cleveland Zoo? And then the North Loop Greenies, this is a great initiative as long as the Greenies are labeled differently from the regular loop. Good work. Also, I hear you guys are working to extend Veal pool hours. Thank you. I've hated how restricting they are ever since freshman year.
Retrospective. Representative Thompson.
Suggestion for getting our resolutions out there. We could set up another mailing list, and that people could sign up for on the USG homepage if they wanted to get our minutes sent directly to them. So when you send out the minutes, instead of just sending it to USGGA, send it out to whatever you want to call this list.
That can be deferred to the PR committee for discussion. Representative Bagad?
Quick question. If I see broken equipment or non-functioning equipment in the VL, who do I talk to about it? Anyone know? If I'm at the gym, it's like,
Okay.
the thing's broken.
Okay, well, if you would like to do it
You have
yourself.
to talk to Steve Thompson.
Yeah.
His email is spt5@case.edu.
So I can't just like go down.
His name is Stephen Thompson, but basically anyone in VO. So Steve Thompson is the one that does a lot of the maintenance facility stuff. VP Downey.
So I like the idea of creating another mailing list, but I don't like the fact that we're sending the whole minutes, because I think that'll be kind of overkill. I don't think I'm going to really use that. I would like to see instead like a condensed version, like a really quick like paragraph done, or like the legislation that we send out, if anything. But I really think the summarized form is probably the best bet.
VP Agarwal.
Would it be possible to open my discussion about smoking at this time?
If you would like. It's
Okay,
open for-
so last week, I don't know if you guys recall, I had this big kind of a paragraph about the situation with smoking on a Delbert Road and our relationship, our communication with UH. And so I wanted your guys' opinion on that and what you think us as students can do to help move this forward. I don't know if anyone would like a kind of recap of what that paragraph said. If you weren't here last week, I can do it very quickly. Basically, what as it stands is that sidewalk is not UH property, it's public property. And as a result of that, UH cannot tell people on that sidewalk whether they can or cannot smoke. UH also does not have its own designated smoking areas, because to them it would seem as a kind of source of criticism if a hospital had a designated smoking area. So they just send people out on the sidewalk. VP Jamison has been trying to work with UH, has been communicating with them often, expressing student concerns, how it's difficult for students to walk there, especially students that have asthma and whatnot, but they are not being cooperative.
Okay. Representative Brown.
Point of clarification, is smoking on a public property such as a sidewalk illegal in Ohio? No.
No.
Then why are there giant signs that say no smoking in the
With their signs, I feel it's kind of like their way of saying that we're trying to tell people not to smoke. That's their kind of way of, they actually don't enforce it. CASE is really good about enforcing our policy. We have designated smoking areas. We have proactive students that tell fellow students to go to a designated smoking area, or security guards that tell students to go to a designated smoking area, but there is no one in UH who does that, who tells anyone to please go over here and smoke, or please do not smoke on the sidewalk.
Representative or VP Hamilton.
I guess two things. One, are there any designated smoking areas on the health science quad? I was just curious about that. So it's so close to UH, I figure there probably aren't.
I don't believe so.
And then the second thing is maybe we should pull out the big guns and complain to the city about this. You never know.
Representative Dooner.
My point is, another point of clarification, I think smoking, maybe if there's any other Ohioans in here, I think smoking might be illegal in public places, because I remember there was a law that was recently passed for that. But either way, there are no, is it only indoors?
Yeah.
Either way, the no smoking signs, if that's actually a legal problem, perhaps that can be addressed with the police.
Representative Thompson.
I think that you can smoke anywhere in a public place unless you're within X number of feet of a door, or I believe an intake vent.
Yeah.
So are there any intake vents on that side of the road?
There's doors.
There are doors.
I mean, like, they would
To the pediatric hospital.
Yeah, really.
I mean,
Mr. Hobson.
I'm not sure of specific law, but I would recommend contacting case lawyers. I'm sure we have a cabinet of them, because there's a high congregation of children and pregnant women in that vicinity. I mean, it's the front entrance to Rainbow's Babies and Children's. And I mean, of course, I guess it's not ethically persuasive to them to stop smoking there, but I'm sure there's some type of law related to the front interest of hospitals or something of that nature.
Representative Lupton.
Yeah, I'm just taking the smoker's opinion. That's a huge hospital, and there's not, I mean, I don't go in the hospital, but I know when you're in such a huge building, like, finding a place to smoke is really difficult. So, I mean, it's just natural to go outside. I mean, we don't have to argue my opinion, because it's actually not my opinion. I'm actually a non-smoker. I would rather it not be there. But I think they're, you know, like, there's, where else are you gonna put them? You're gonna have them walk, you know, a mile to go smoke. So if the, I know there's a couple courtyards inside the hospital, but maybe making a designated hospital smoking area. But I think the hospital has to do something. So I guess I agree with the lawyer comment and talking with, you know, higher ups, but there's not much we can do because smokers want to smoke.
Okay, I have the last 3 comments. VP Downey.
I think most of us can agree that we don't like the smoking there, and also probably most with Representative Lupton's comment about, you know, we also want to be kind to people that do smoke because it is not legal overall. So I think we're kind of at a standstill trying to do all this. So would maybe doing a petition with the city to get UH to form a smoking room, kind of like what you see at airports, where it's actually a closed door, it's got intake vents and all that kind of thing inside of it. Because from what VP Agarwal has said, I mean, Case and she has tried a lot of different things, it's not working. So, I mean, is a petition even something that we can do, or, I mean, 'cause I'm not sure if there's any other option at this point.
Representative Gallo. VP Maloney.
I just kind of wanted to address the point of UH thinking it would reflect poorly on them if they had a designated smoking area. I mean, I think that it's worsening their image by having people out on the sidewalk, you know, right by the entrance to a pediatric hospital across from a university, smoking out in that area with, you know, all these people who are affected by cigarette smoke versus, you know, having a designated smoking area somewhere on the premises that, I mean, let's be honest, people probably wouldn't even know about unless they were a hospital employee who smoked. So I think that argument that they make is a little bit disingenuous, because I really don't feel that it would hurt their image to have a designated smoking area, and it might actually improve the situation.
Last comment to Representative Hoffman.
I still have a question about to clarify the signs in front of in front of Rainbow Babies. I know there are 2 signs. I know for a fact one of my friends, one has a phone number and says, report, if you see smoking here, report this number, because she says every time she walks past it, she calls the number. And so I feel like then it's against the law in that area because it's breaking the Ohio law to So I want to know which sign has the phone number and what is it referring to? But then I know there's the big sign, there's like one sign on a post and one sign that's on like a on the ground.
Can anyone answer that real quick? Yes.
It's just the standard Ohio sign.
They put out there, and I think they just put it out there to like scare people essentially, but there's no real legal weight behind it.
Representative Hale.
Bus stops, you can't smoke at a bus stop, and since there's bus stops there, they put up the sign.
They technically aren't.
I don't know where the rule about the bus stops come from, but I've called it over before, and that's what they try.
Okay, all right. I hope the VP Agarwal got a lot from this discussion. We are now moving on then to announcements. Do we have any announcements? Yes, VP Hamilton.
Okay, the Alumni Relations Office is trying to restart the Student Alumni Association, and a woman working there by the name of Jim Voris is holding focus groups, and she's offering free lunch. Free lunch. So if you want to attend, please contact me. All right, thank you.
Yes, Representative Cruz.
Just as a heads up for everyone, I know there's been a lot of rearranging and changes as far as members of USG go. So I will be resending out the form for the rep spotlight to kind of catch all the people that weren't here last semester or have been recently added. So look for that this week. If you've already filled it out, that's fine. If you haven't, please do, or I will hound you about it. And one other thing, This is kind of an open forum-y thing, but I didn't get a chance to say it. Just a thought. I noticed, like, with the binary walkway closed, I feel like it would make more sense to have the crossing guard down at the crosswalk by a Delbert, because nobody crosses a Delbert at Euclid anymore. Everyone walks and continues further away. Just a thought.
Okay. VP Dorbeck.
If you haven't already, if you're on Facebook and you're finding yourself creeping somebody, creep CWRU, Undergraduate Student Government. If you haven't liked it yet, you should like it and invite your friends.
VP Maloney.
First of all, I'd just like to point out that my mom is totally a fan of USG on Facebook. I don't know, just thought that was a fun fact. And second of all, okay, so this Thursday, February 3rd at 2, ITS is going to be hosting a webinar via Adobe Connect to discuss new features that could be implemented on our Google Apps, and they're going to present what features ITS would recommend for us to add, and they're looking for any student input. And I've already sent this out to the Information Technology Committee mailing list, but if anybody else is interested, it is open. So Thursday at 2, I'm not really sure where the meeting will be at. I probably won't be able to attend because I have a class. But so if you're interested in going to that, please, and you didn't get the message from the IT committee mailing list, please email me and I'll get you the proper contact information.
Representative Lupton.
Okay, I know everybody wants to go, so it's going to be quick. If I can spit it out. I'm going to be sending out a Google document, okay? It's going to have, you have to fill out your name, fill out a phone number. I could probably find the phone numbers, but fill out your name if you drive. So actually, quick show of hands of how many people have a car on campus and can drive. Okay, cool. So fill that up, and what I'm going to be doing is also intramurals. So at the top is going to have all the different dates of intramurals. And if you're interested, like you're not for sure going to do it, but if you're interested in one, like put an X. And then I'm going to see if there's enough interest to generate. Like we're going to try to pick like 1 or 2 for the whole year, or the whole semester to do. And the drivers, I'm curious just to see, we're going to make a social list. USG social at case.edu, so, or whatever it's going to be. But basically, we'll know the drivers, so if we want to do something off campus, then we can try to contact the drivers. But anyway, that's some cool things that are going on in PR.
VP Downey.
Also, the career fair, for everyone who wants to get an internship, practicum, co-op, full-time job, is this Thursday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. They have 90 employers if the blizzard doesn't get them first. So hopefully it's still going to be held, but get out there, especially for you younger guys wanting internships. They really do help, so do it.
Representative Bagat. Before you do, congratulations to Nicole Arick, who is now the new representative of the Francis Payne Bolt Nursing School. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you everyone so much for putting up with me in my speaker role.
I believe there's also a call for a vote of no content.